See, you know what? Because I heard the click stop and I thought you stopped.
All right, we're rolling audio now. Quick sound check. What's up guys, it's Lucas and you're watching Fine Tuning. Today I've got a new guitar to show you and I want to keep this video sort of unscripted and just let it be what it's going to be. So in an effort to sort of trim down my guitar collection, what I've been doing is getting rid of maybe 2 or 3 guitars at a time, and then I'll sort of bring back one nicer one in that spot, and that kind of helps me, you know, trim the overall number down but also keep something cool and get something new and interesting. It kind of just inspires me. When I was in high school, I used to sit in like math class when I was supposed to be learning algebra, and I had the CARVIN catalogs, and I would just look at, especially these, because I thought PRSs were so cool, and these to me look very much like a PRS. And at the time I was thinking, man, I'll never be able to afford a PRS. I have like 6 of them now, but at the time I'm thinking I'll never be able to afford a PRS. But maybe I could afford one of these. You know, it was a little bit less expensive, and it was still a really nice made in the USA guitar, and it looked really cool, and it had the kind of similar aesthetic. So when I had a chance to get one of these, I thought, okay, yeah, I mean, I'd like to try it. Let's see how it goes. It came to me with some issues, but not like from the factory issues, like the guitar has, I'm gonna guess this is a mid-2000s guitar. I haven't checked exactly. But it had, you know, some fret problems, and the push-pull pot was all messed up and wouldn't stay pulled up, so I had to do some fret work and replace some electronics and fix a few things. But basically, I've restored it to its stock state now, as close as you can get it. So CARVIN and now Kiesel guitars are very much sort of built to order type guitars. So what I'm going to do is just give you the specs of my particular guitar, because there's like 1,000 different options on these guitars that you could do, but I can just tell you what this one is. So it's a California carved top body shape, which is of course beautiful violin dish kind of carved top, very much like a PRS. It has a volume and a tone. The tone is a push-pull for splitting the coils. It's got a 3-way toggle switch. This guitar has the CARVIN C22 pickups in it, if I'm not mistaken. They're pretty high output. They sound a lot like the old DiMarzio Super Distortion kind of bridge PAF neck type sound. It's got that hot rodded 70s pickup sound to it, I think. My guitar has a painted black back and neck, so I presume this guitar is made of mahogany, both in the neck and the body. I can't tell you because I don't know what's underneath the paint, but that would be the standard. This one has an ebony fingerboard with no inlays on it, which I think is actually really cool. I thought it was going to throw me off, but I can see the dots on the side of the neck, so it really doesn't bother me. But yeah, it ends up giving it this really cool, sleek aesthetic, because it also has black hardware. It's got black bridge and knobs. The switch, the Spurzel locking tuners are black. It's got a gold-plated CARVIN logo and the matching headstock and everything. So it's a really like elegant, high-end looking and feeling guitar. Oh, and the strings go through the body here, through these little ferrules, and you can see they come out the back right there. So you can get these with Wilkinson tremolos or Floyd Roses, or I think you can get it with a stop tail and a Tune-o-matic if you want, but this is kind of one of the more standard options, is the string through. Now that I've kind of given you like the overview of the specs of the guitar, let's kind of just hear how it sounds. And I'm not trying to demo every single sound this guitar will do, because you can do a whole lot with it. I'm just going to play you through some of the sounds that I would use it for with my rig, which is right now basically just the Hughes & Kettner Black Spirit, and I use a couple of built-in effects on the amp, but it's mostly just the amp. And so let's start with kind of a clean sound with some delay on it. So you can hear on that clean sound there, these pickups are pretty high output and they're kind of overdriving the clean sound. Less so when you put them on split coil, but even those seem kind of hot to me. Like kind of thin and bright, but still kind of hot. I used the multimeter and I tested the pickup impedance or inductance, whatever you want to call it. And the bridge measured at about 13K and the neck was at about 8K or something like that. So I mean, it's what I'll call relatively high output, definitely not vintage. And it has kind of a, you know, a forward mid-rangey bark to it. Definitely a particular sound. Now, if I go to my normal, this is what I would consider kind of a light level of drive for me. It's about halfway up on the drive channel. But as these pickups are so hot, it's pretty aggressive. But one of the things that I think is cool here is that this volume pot, much like PRS's volume pots, has some kind of treble bleed capacitor on it, and it has a similar effect as the PRS ones does. So it kind of keeps the treble, but it also sort of thins the sound out a little bit, and it really helps you take a high gain sound and clean it up to a nice spanky kind of almost single coily tone. So let's check that out. Okay, so just quickly, let me kind of run over some of what I really like about the guitar and some of the things I don't like quite as much. So first of all, we'll start with the body shape. Again, it's so close to the PRS, the custom 24, the 22, that it feels very comfortable to me because I'm so used to that type of guitar. So to me, that's a plus. This guitar, you know, if I close my eyes kind of under my arm, it feels very, very similar. It doesn't weigh a lot. It does weigh more than my PRS, but not at, you know, like a huge amount. I would say it's probably like 9 pounds or something, and the PRSs are probably like 8 and some change. So it's a little bit more, but not as much as like one of my Les Paul type guitars or something like that. Got nice big frets on it, which I really appreciate. I had to do a little bit of leveling because of the condition of the guitar when it got to me, but still plenty of frets left, so that I was really happy about. The feel of the guitar, really nicely done. Like, there's no sharp edges on the frets. I mean, it feels very well finished, and like it's glossy, but not so glossy that it's obnoxious, which just means that the finish is not super thick. Everything looks good and feels good as far as that's concerned. It's got nice high-end feeling hardware, like the bridge feels good, the knobs, the Spurzel tuners, all that. I'm not sure what kind of nut. I think it's probably some kind of graphite type something, but it's holding tune very well. Alright, so I have just a couple of sort of minor little grievances, I guess if you want to call them that, about the guitar. It's little stuff. So the first and foremost for me is that the pickups are just not my thing. Particularly in the split mode, I just find them almost offensively bright. But again, that may be very different depending on what kind of amp you use and what kind of, you know, strings and how hard you pick and all that stuff. But for me, I find the split coil sound to be extremely bright, too bright. And in regular humbucking mode, I just think they're too much. Like, they sound pretty good. I think they're just so hot that it feels like it's making the front end of my amps like squish, and they get kind of sputtery, almost like you have a fuzz pedal on, which I don't really like. I like that kind of open sound. So yeah, I mean, I would say I will probably change the pickups to something I like more. Again, minor grievances. I don't like it when guitar companies do this non-standard pickup ring thing. 2 screws on one side and 1 screw on the other, like Fender does that sometimes. That drives me crazy, because then if you want to put aftermarket pickups in, then you've got to change the pickup rings too and hope that that all lines up. If it doesn't, you got to fill holes and re-drill them. And it's like, come on, guys, like, what? Can we not pick one thing universally? It's a little minor thing. And then this, I found, this might just be me and I'm bad at it, but I found it very difficult to get the unwound strings through these ferrules. Like when I was restringing the guitar, I find it, especially with the high E string, that 10 or 11, it's kind of hard to get it through the hole. It keeps wanting to catch inside of there, which is a little bit annoying, but that might be a technique thing that I can improve over time. But other than that, I mean, I think there's a lot of stuff to really like about this guitar, and I think I just need to do a little bit of tweaking to kind of customize it to my tastes, as I tend to do with everything. So if you watch the channel, no surprise there. But overall, build quality and everything, I mean, I think this is really good, and you can get these guitars, admittedly, used, I mean, a whole lot cheaper than a comparable PRS. Now, the main question there will be like, which one is better, or which, you know, is one a better value or something like that. That's really subjective. To me, I think this is a really good guitar, and I put it in upper echelon of guitars, but I also don't think it's in the same league as my PRSs, the American core model PRSs. I mean, it's like a really good attempt, and there's nothing wrong with this guitar in that respect, but there's something extra about the PRSs that makes me like them better. It's just personal preference. I think they just have a special character about them, the way they ring, and that, you know, there's a tonality to them. I could hear the difference for sure. But nothing overall wrong with this guitar. And if you play more high gain or metal type stuff, you might prefer something like this that has that higher output, kind of compressed, barky sound to it. So it's all about what you like. There's just it's a particular thing that the PRSs do that I'm used to, and that's kind of integrated itself into my sound. Okay, so there's kind of a brief look at my CARVIN CT6 that I recently acquired. I think this is a really cool guitar. You know, there's some things about it that I would like to tweak a little bit to kind of just make it ever so slightly more my personal guitar, but overall I think it's really cool. And I think if you're in the market for this style of guitar, made in the US, this kind of shape and everything, these can be had for considerably less money than the comparable PRS. So I think it's worth checking out and seeing which one you prefer. They're both great guitars, it's just which one kind of does it for you more. Now I can hear some of you clacking away on the keyboard already, like I'd really like to hear a comparison of this guitar and your Custom 24, or this guitar and your DGT, or something like that. And I would do that, but I don't think it would really be fair in the sense that those guitars have my Planet Tone signature pickups in it, not the stock pickups, and these are stock pickups. So it would be kind of a weird comparison, I think. What I would need to do is put basically the same set of pickups in this guitar and wire it the same way. And then I could probably do a fair comparison. So if you guys want me to do that, like, let me know. Maybe I can do that. But anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. If you like this video, click the thumbs up, subscribe, hit the bell for notifications, all that general YouTube stuff I'm supposed to say to help with the algorithm. But anyway, until next time, thank you so much for watching, and I will catch you later.